Hi guys, and welcome to Sister's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a pork and spinach with hoisin sauce bowl. So if you're ready, let's get started. You will need pork tenderloin, an egg, sesame oil, peanut oil, cornstarch, garlic, chilies, Gula Djawa or dark brown sugar, aluminum foil, some knives for cutting and a whisk, hoisin sauce, veggies of your choice, a wok, a container for your oil, a slotted spoon and a spatula, sieve, and a heat-proof bowl. So the first thing we're going to do is take our egg and we're going to split the egg white and the egg yolk. Now as you can see, I've broken mine, so you have to be a little bit careful with this step here. So once that's separated, we're just going to whisk it until it thickens a bit. Once that's done, we add about a tablespoon of cornstarch, and the reason we do this is so that the meat stays tender when we pre-fry it. So now we're going to work on our pork. And what I like to do first is just cut it into strips like this, and you can sort of see what the thickness is going to be of your pork strips during the second part of the cutting. So now that we've cut it into those flat bits, what I like to do is then cut it into thin strips. And what this does is it makes sure that your pork cooks evenly if you cut them all the same size. It makes it cook faster as well. And honestly, it's just a really nice texture to have when you fry it. So once that's done, we're just going to mix it all together to make sure that the egg white and cornstarch is on all of our pork. Then we wrap it up in aluminum foil and leave it for at least an hour. In the meantime, I like to start my rice, and you're just going to have to follow the instructions according to your rice cooker. If you do it in a pot or a pan, then go ahead and do that now. So to prep the sauce, we're going to start with a clove of garlic, and I like to pop the middle bit out because that bit tends to be a little bit bitter. And then I just like to cut it into very, very small little pieces so you don't end up biting into a chunk of garlic later on. So then we're going to work on our Gula Djawa, and this is just to add a little sweetness to the hoisin sauce depending on what you have, and I just cut off little bits on the side. You can use dark brown sugar if you don't have it though, so don't worry. Now for some chilies, which is totally optional. I like it to be a little bit spicy, and I like to use dried chili, but you're welcome to use fresh or to just leave it out. So now we're just going to check on our meat just to make sure that it's all still coated. To start our pre-fry, we're going to pour our oil into a wok to about 2/3 of its height and turn it onto a high flame. Once the oil is bubbling, then we're going to take a little bit of the pork and add it to our oil, and we're going to stir it around until the pieces get white and they'll start to float if you cut them as small as I did. Now once they're floating and they've started to turn brown, you can take them out and put them into the sieve so that you can continue. So once you're done, you're just going to want to move your hot oil into your heat-proof container and then just wipe out your wok for the next step. So now we're ready for the sauce portion, and we're just going to put a bit of peanut oil into our wok, and we're going to turn it up to high heat. A little bit of sesame oil as well. So once the oil is good and hot, we're going to add a bit of garlic, a bit of Gula Djawa, and a bit of chili, and we're just going to stir it around until the garlic becomes aromatic and the Gula Djawa has melted a little bit. Once that happens, we add some hoisin sauce. And once that's mixed together, we can go ahead and add the first bit of our pork. Now you might have to test your sauce a little bit because there's a little bit of variation between hoisin sauces. So I add a bit of Gula Djawa if it needs a bit of sweetness. And I also add a little bit of fish sauce if it needs a little bit of salt. You can also use normal salt if you'd rather do that instead. So I like to cook pork and things like this bit by bit because what it means is that I can sort of test the flavor of it and adjust as I go along, and then I can add it all back together just to make sure that the flavor all blends together. So now that our meat is done, we're going to work on our veggies. So I put a little bit of peanut oil, a bit of sesame oil, some garlic, some Gula Djawa. You can add chili if you want, but I tend to leave that out of vegetable dishes. Hoisin sauce, a little bit of fish sauce. And then I just add my spinach and stir it around until it becomes wilted and well cooked. It's a very easy vegetable to make, especially in a wok, so it's something that I always recommend if you're not a massive vegetable person. Now you don't have to do this, but I like to heat the meat just one last time and adjust little bits of flavor after I do the veggies. But you don't have to, so don't worry about it. So now we're going to assemble our bowl, and I just like to put rice in the bottom of the bowl first. Then I add the vegetables, and as you can see, there's a bit of water left at the bottom of the bowl. Spinach has a lot of water in it, so be very careful with that. And then I just add the meat over top. So there we have it, a very easy pork and hoisin with veggie rice bowl. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys back soon.